And the fun continues. So just explain this to me, Cheerilee said. You've been married as long as I've known you? Yes, Gears replied, head first in the cradle the automaton had been in. It wasn't long after our 6-month anniversary that you were the trot for that year your teacher's conference. Cheerilee, Gears, Lumos, Trixie, and Snails were back in the rock field, where the whole mess with the automaton had begun. Gears was looking through the crate the automaton had been brought in for something he said would help beat it. While Cheerilee was well aware of there being more pressing issues, she still felt the need to get some closure. You never told me you were married. It never came up. I asked you if you were dating any pony, and you told me no. Gears stuck his head out of the crate and looked at Cheerilee, apparently to be terribly confused. Why would I be dating any pony if I'm already married? Gears returned to the crate, while Cheerilee stood there clearly flabbergasted. Lumos appeared, hoping to offer the teacher some comfort. Sorry about him. He's not a bad pony. The unicorn insisted. He's just out of touch with how the world works. So why do you work for him? Trixie asked. I married his sister, Lumos replied. That's unfortunate, Trixie admitted. Lumos tried. See, he's worth it. Here we are. Gears pulled out a strange claw-like device that appeared to be a crowbar. This is the tool I use to remove the arms if I need to make adjustments, Gears explained, indicating the crowbar. We just jam this underside where the arm meets the torso, then all I need is a big enough opening to pull out the crystal. He looked at Lumos smugly, and you thought packing the tools was a bad idea. As I recall, I also thought building an automaton was bad enough to begin with. Lumos replied. The inventor went from looking smug to looking sheepish. Fair enough. Great. So, we have a chance at stopping it. Raindrop said. Now, any ideas where to find this darn thing? Hostile. Everybody turned to Snails. He said his name was Hostile, the cult clarified. The adults looked at each other for a moment. I actually think it's appropriate, Trixie added. So, how do we know where Hostile is? Raindrops asked. I've got Pinky in charge of locating it, the representative replied. A can attached to a long piece of string landed nearby. Speaking of which, Trixie picked up the can and pulled the string tight. This is Cobalt Diva. Oh, what's your status? Cobalt Diva, this is Party Pooper. Have located the target. Good work, Party Popper. Return to the rendezvous for debriefing and prepare for a big master for extraction. Roger that, Cobalt Diva. I'll rain out. Tracy didn't notice Raindrops looking at her with a raised eyebrow. Really? The letter pony asked. This is Pinky we're talking about. Trixie sat back. You'll either spend an hour trying to tell her to take this seriously, or he says he'll make anything into a game, and just go with it. Uh-huh. You're just jealous we have cool code names. Raindrops rolled her eyes. Right, because it's hard to top names like Cobalt Diva Party Popper. You want a code name too? Pinky's voice popped out from Trixie's cape. The representative looked at the cape and almost jumped back and fright when she saw Pinky hiding between her legs. She thought, I got it! Your code name shall be Storm Warning. Pinky, Trixie said, trying hard to maintain her cool. Do you know what boundaries are? I sure do, Pinky said proudly. They're those lines that you see on the map that show where one pony's property ends and another pony's begin. Pinky pulled out a map out of her main hand and handed it to Trixie. Speaking of maps, that's where the target is. Trixie unrolled the map and saw a location marked with a red X. Good work. Now it's time to take Snails home. Snails was actually pouting at this. I want to watch you save the day! Raindrops focused her attention to her little brother. Come on, Snails. You know we don't want you risking getting hurt. The Cobalt sighed. I know. Tell you what, Trixie chimed in. If it's still light out when all this is over, the three of us can go see if we can find those blizzard crickets Carrot Top saw seesaw by Ferret Creek. That seemed to lighten Snails' mood, and made him more willing to go with Pinky, while Trixie and Raindrops waved him off. Is sending Snails away a sign we expect this plan to fail? Trixie asked Raindrops. Blair probably shrugged. I like to think of it as us hedging our bets. Kinda like how you sent Luna a message requesting military aid be sent to Ponyville if she doesn't hear from you in the next hour. Tracy paused. How did you know that? Because if you hadn't, you'd be an idiot. Raindrops replied frankly before asking, So, ready to save the day, Cobalt Diva? Trixie smirked. Only you are. Storm warning. I'm clear on most of the plan, Limo said, but how exactly we're going to get the automaton where we want? Charlie gave a meaningful glance to the place where Big Mac had crash landed. By using the one thing we know will get its attention. The automaton, having stopped burning, was now idly wandering through the forest. That was until a rock collided with its head with a dull dunk. It turned and saw Charlie, now red thanks to one of Trixie's spells, standing nearby. Hey, Scrap Mile! The teacher said, taunting away to flank at it. Hostile this! Satisfied she had his attention. And has my attention too! Damn, what a flank! Charlie probably ran, with the automaton giving chase. As the two raced through the forest, Charlie had to make sure the automaton didn't lose sight of her, but also avoid being caught. Nearing the destination, the Trixie did jump off a nearby tree in order to do a sharp right turn. The automaton, lacking a pony's maneuverability, crashed headlong into said tree. Charlie stopped when she heard the crash and dared to look back, just in time to see the tree topple. She then started running again when the automaton righted itself and gave chase. Upon seeing the frozen lake up ahead, she started running at full speed. Once she neared the edge of the lake, she leapt and then used her momentum to skid across the ice. Once she went as far as she could, she grabbed hold of the rope Trixie magicked out to her and held on as she pulled the rest of the way across. The automaton, still in pursuit, started to cross the lake. After made a quarter of the way through before it sounded ice cracking. Hearing the unfamiliar sound, it looked down and saw that while the ice was thick, having trouble supporting the weight of the metallic behemoth. Hey, hostile! The automaton looked, saw its raindrops flying by. This one's for snails! She then hit the ice as hard as she could. The ice around the automaton filled with cracks before finally giving way, causing the male monster to sink to the bottom of the lake. Satisfied, raindrops flew back to the side of the lake where the rest were waiting. You think this will work? She asked Trixie. Trixie shrugged, not taking her eyes off the lake. Well, trying to get out of the ice and water will take a lot out of it. Either it'll slow down enough for us to have a shot at playing doctor, or it'll run out of power before I manage to get out of the lake. Charlie, catching her breath, was also staring anxiously at the lake. Remind me again which outcome we're hoping for? All was quiet for a moment as every pony stared at the lake. The quiet was soon shattered by a metallic fist smashing through the ice not too far from the edge. This was followed by another fist, even closer to the shore. This was followed by a pair of horns, then a head. More of the automaton started to appear as it was breaking through the ice and wading to the shore. As it finally stepped out of the lake, Trixie saw that the water had intended effect. Water was leaking out of every crevice. Gears and joints creaked and groaned as his movements were now sluggish. Despite this, and the fact it was a expressless machine, Master Pierre ticked off as he continued to trudge forward. Hostile! Raised his arm, intending to do some damage. Now! Lumos used his magic to restrain the rest of the automaton as Raindrops grabbed hold of its outstretched arm and pulled on it. Trixie levitated the crowbar into the armpit of the automaton and started applying leverage. Nothing seemed to happen until Charlie jumped in with a flying kick to the crowbar. The added force was finally enough to dislocate the arm. Raindrops, still pulling with all her might, went flying with said arm into a crash landing. Though dazed, she still held on for dear life as it tried to fly back to the rest of the automaton. Despite her strength, the weathermare was starting to lose ground, might have lost the arm completely, and Charlie had joined in helping her restrain the lamb. Lumos was still giving it his all in restraining the monster. Trixie, having dropped the crowbar, was straining as he not only struggled to tear open a big enough hole in the side of the automaton, but also stop it from healing back up. After much effort, the hole was finally big enough to reveal a crystal giving a green glow. Needing no further clue, Gears raced in with a claw device. Onto the automaton clinging to his side, Gears plunged the claw into a hole, then started to pull the crystal out, trying being the operative word. What are you waiting for? Trixie demanded. It's stuck, Gears replied. Well, get it unstuck! I'm trying! Gears stuck his back hose onto either side of the opening and raised his head back as he pulled with all his might. Something finally gave way, causing Gears to fall to the ground. Having closed his eyes before, he peeked and saw the glowing crystal within the claw's clutches. Meanwhile, the automaton stopped struggling and started to sag. After giving a moment to be sure, Trixie and Lumos released their hold on it. The arm that Raindrops and Cheerily had been restrained became lifeless. The arm still attached to the automaton fell limply to the side as the green glow in its eyes went out. All was quiet for a moment. Gear, satisfied with his fist, carried the crystal to Trixie and Lumos. Dear, that wasn't so odd. Groan. They turned and saw the spice eyes not glowing anymore. Still having a gaping hole inside, the automaton was starting to move again, heading towards them. Oh, come on! Trixie exclaimed in dismay. Hey, hostile! Heads up! Raindrops flew in, wielding the automaton's dislocated arm. As the automaton glanced up, Raindrops swung with all her might. Thunk! I collided with the male monster's head, hitting it with enough force to knock it clean off. The head went flying. There was a brief puff of magic as it left the remaining body of the automaton. Then it started to crumble as it fell to the ground. Satisfied it was finally over, Raindrops dropped the arm and turned away from the monster. Only to see everybody else gaping at her. What? You said I should go for the head or heart. So that's it? Cheerily asked. It should be. Without the word that was on the forehead to give direction, any leftover magic in the middle is useless. The pony staring on at the mangled scrap metal formerly known as the automaton. A moment's silence passed over them until Trixie returned to Raindrops. Heads up? Before the weather pony could reply, Trixie suddenly burst out laughing. Heads up! The representative soon collapsed onto her back as he continued to laugh. This went on for at least a minute. You know, it's not that funny. Cheerily commented. No, it's not that, Trixie said between laughing spurts. It's that now that the threats are gone, this whole day is cut up to me. Before Gears got in my office, I was praying for something to help stop my boredom. And look where that got me! You seem to be responding with good spirits, Gears commented. Oh no, I'm still unbelievably angry, Trixie replied. In fact, some part of me is still wondering if there's a way to dump you into Tartarus and let Cerberus use you as a toy. She returned to uncontrollable laughter. The pony stared. Trixie continued to roll on the ground, laughing hysterically. Is he alright? Lumos asked. Not sure, Raindrops replied. Read a book once that laughter is a common coping mechanism for ponies that are placed in a situation where they're uncertain to correct a muscle response. Should we be concerned? If we give her a minute, the laughter will either calm down or escalate into a fight at rage, Raindrops answered. She then draped an arm over Gears, seemingly offer comfort, more likely preventing escape. Let's see what happens. We collected all the pieces we could find, Field Supervisor Hazmat explained it, as he handed a clip over to Trixie. They're ready to be transported to Starlight. Trixie nodded as he read through the notes, yet again thankful for how quickly a hazardous materials disposal unit was able to get there. After she recovered from her laughing fit, she had sent Princess Luna an all clear and got to work to making sure the remains of Grinding Gears' invention were taken care of responsibly. She then paused when she noticed something in the report. You didn't find the head. Hazmat shook his head. It's a cleared area, but we couldn't find a trace of it. We're assuming it fell in the lake, but it's too cold to send divers in to check, he explained. Usual protocol is to bring in a unicorn team to dredge the lake, but your report to my superior said to avoid using magic in the metal. Tracy paused for a moment as he weighed her options. Finally, she sighed the clipboard and handed it back. We'll leave it for now. If there's any life in it, the ice water will keep it dormant. Get the rusty steroid, and when spring comes, send a team of divers to take the leak. Well, there, Hazmat replied as he took back the clipboard. All right, team, move it! As the field supervisor left, Trixie was joined by Cheerily. So, that's everything? The teacher asked. Almost everything. Trixie turned to look at Gears, was watching his hard work being carried away. I suppose you want me to go easy on him? Cheerily shook her head. I still consider him a friend, so I'm not out for his blood, she stated. But he built something that hurt one of my other friends and almost hurt one of my students, so I'm not going to defend him. Despite the situation, Trixie gave Cheerily a smirk. And the fact that he forgotten to mention he was married irks me to no end, the teacher replied bluntly. But that's for him and Mrs. Gears to sort out. Trixie rolled her eyes but didn't press the matter. So he approached the detried vendor, and when he noticed her, he took a deep breath. No more putting this off, is there?
No, there isn't, the representative replied. We don't need to go over how dangerous and downright stupid this was.
You're absolutely right. But before you say anything more, please note that I'm really sorry about all of this, and I take full responsibility for what happened, Gears interjected. Lumos would not have done any of this if I hadn't told him, so the blame lies with me. Tracy blinked a couple of times before speaking.
That is very noble of you, Tracy remarked. However, Princess Luna has given me the duty of discerning where to blame for today's events lies, not you.
I understand, Gears replied solemnly.
And after reviewing all the facts in the matter, it becomes clear that the blame lies with the Every Forest.
For the first time, Gears looked genuinely confused. What?
The corrupting influence of the Every Forest is well documented, Tracy said matter-of-factly. While most accounts focus on the effect it has on weather patterns, as well as local flora and fauna, there have been instances of it corrupting other forms of magic. While in hindsight, there were precautions you could have taken to prevent this, there was nothing to indicate your intentions were malicious, and we had no way of knowing how the automaton would have acted had it not been corrupted.
The inventor stared while the representative continued.
Now, there will be a 100-bit fine for not seeking permission from the local authorities before commencing your little test run. It could have been worse, considering how dangerous your project turned out to be, but the state has decided to be lenient.
Tracy handed over a form outlining the fine and how to pay it.
I also have taken the liberty of speaking to both Ray Johnson and Big Macintosh. Both have agreed not to press charges, providing you are on the next train back to Detroit.
Gears stood, quite defunded. So, I'm not in trouble.
You're being let off with a warning, Tracy stated. The automaton is now on record as a potential threat to public safety. You try and build another one, and you will be deemed an enemy of the state and punished accordingly.
Gears nodded. I understand.
Do you? Tracy asked. You know, if you ignore everything wrong with building a golem, I could sum it up like this little project of yours failed so spectacularly with one mistake.
Despite himself, Gears felt the need to ask, and what mistake is that?
You were so focused on the potential benefits of using magic, you didn't stop to think of the risks.
I researched every magic exclusively before even beginning construction, Gears argued.
Don't kid yourself, Tracy chastised. You researched enough to get what you thought was the desired result, and ignored the basic fundamentals. Your focus was entirely on the end goal, not the path you were taking to get there. I know because I've been there, the representative stated. I once led Hong into zebra magic, focusing on the benefits of understanding the art, and as a result, turned my friend into a hominin.
A hominin what?
It's this hairless monkey-looking thing, Tracy explained. Mostly harmless, but still kind of freaky-looking. Sure, part of the cause was that I'd been given a shoddy isolation, but I've still been the one who put my friend in that situation.
Why are you telling me this?
You're not the first pony to set their heights high and have it blow up in their face, Tracy explained. You won't be the last. The only difference between you and most stupid hacks out of the deaf is that you have some skill to back it up.
Thanks?
It wasn't a compliment. It was a warning, the representative clarified. When a smart pony does something stupid, they tend to do a lot more damage than a dumb one. You seem to be a really smart pony that's really good at doing really stupid things.
So you're saying I should give up experimenting with magic? Tracy ran a hope through her mane as he made sure to phrase the next part carefully.
I'm saying that when entering new territory, it's better to plan twice, build once, and have some pony making sure you're not missing something.
Tracy took out a piece of paper.
Here's the name and address of a Canterlot professor that's been exploring new ways of using magic to improve machinery. Hasn't gotten the experience in building things you do, but he knows more about magical empowerment than any pony else in the field. Put your heads together, you might create something that will change the world.
The representative handed over a sealed envelope, as well as a list.
Here's a letter of introduction. Kids say you'll get you a different yes from him, but at the very least he'll hear you out. The list is the names of some nobles I know who I consider investing in this thing if you manage to come up with something useful.
The inventor looked at the pieces, then up at the representative. He opened his mouth to speak, but Trixie turned her head to silence him.
I haven't completely thrown out the Tartarus idea, so how about you avoid saying something that will ruin the moment and catch your train?
Gears nodded dumbly, and after seeing a farewell to Charlie, scampered off with Lumos. The teacher turned to her friend. Not that I'm complaining, but you let him off easier than I thought you would.
Well, prosecuting him would probably result in him getting community service, and the thought of him staying in town to repay his debt scares me more than the automaton did.
Good point, Charlie amended. Well, that was still a nice thing you did for him. Trixie gave half a shrug.
Well, it's not like I could have taught him out of using magic. This way at least means that we might not have another disaster. I mean, I still think these two parties had sort of a quinceanera, she remarked. But he did build an impressive machine. If he focuses that talent on something a little less calming, who knows?
Charlie seemed to be genuinely impressed. Trixie, you've been mature about all this.
Well, not entirely. The maturity probably would have not been telling Applejack, who had built that thing, be a big megatas.
Excuse me. You're grinding gears, ain't you? Grinding gears started to see an orange mare wearing a Stetson hat. Why, yes I am. The inventor replied, Sorry I can't chat for long. I've got to be in train in 15 minutes.
Oh, that's fine.
Applejack replied as he cracked her neck.
I'll be done tying.
Satisfied you were alone, Charlie turned back to the representative. Okay, let's hear it. Trixie tilted her head slightly. Hear what? You warned me that this thing with grinding gears turned out badly. You find the most agnostic way to say I told you so. So let's hear it. Trixie gave a thoughtful pause.
You know what? I'm not gonna say it.
Charlie raised an eyebrow. Really?
You didn't know Gears had already built the automaton. And rubbing your nose in the fact that I had known this was a bad idea from the start would be childish. Besides, I've led you and the others into enough crazy stuff that I can't act too high and mighty.
Charlie placed a foreleg on her friend in companionship.
The day is saved, the crisis is averted, and no more bourbon was lost. So let's just savor the moment.
The Ram Quartet suddenly appeared around the two mares. There was a mare who told you so, and Trixie was her name. Oh, yes, she told you so. Yes, she told you so. Yes, she told you so. And yes, Trixie told you so. As the Ram started their second verse, Trixie let out a content sigh.
Just savor the moment.
The disposal unit was finally gone. A hooded figure stepped out of hiding. Confidence he was alone, so he took a moment to admire the spoils of what was surprisingly successful reconnaissance mission. What a remarkable combination of machine and magic, the hood figure commented, as he ran an appraising hoof over the slightly battered head of the automaton. To let such a tool go to waste would certainly be tragic. You know, after the stupidity of that previous fic, I feel better. I really do. This is the type of stuff I love. I don't need all this, this political woman bull crap to make a good fic. Sometimes I just need the Lunaverse 6 to, have a fun adventure. Be themselves. Laugh. Have fun. That kind of thing. Well, one down, thousands more to go. Let's see where the next fic takes us.